This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Thursday, October 9th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
After 2 years and 1 day, the war in Gaza may finally be coming to an end.
We're very close to a deal in the Middle East.
I'm Jeff McKay in Washington.
A suspect in the January Palisades fire. But why did he do it?
Evil people do evil things.
I'm Rich Johnson.
A case surrounding mail-in ballots makes its way to the High Court. I'm Clayton Neville.
A pro-Palestinian protest got out of hand, and now a Tufts University student is facing some serious charges. I'm Joan Jones.
On Wall Street, the Nasdaq opens this morning above 23,000 for the first time. It's at another new record high. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
The Agriculture Department issued a public health alert for meals that may contain listeria-tainted spinach. Ed Donahue, Washington.
All ahead on America in the Morning. 2 years and 1 day after a Hamas surprise attack that killed over 1,200 Israelis and triggered the war in Gaza, both sides have agreed to the first phase of a peace deal pushed by President Trump. America in the Morning's Jeff McKay with details.
The news seemed to come as a surprise to President Trump, who was conducting a roundtable event at the White House on Wednesday when Secretary of State Marco Rubio walked up to the president and handed him a note.
I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East, and they're going to need me pretty quickly.
Trump took to Truth Social to make the announcement, saying, quote, "I am very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of the peace plan. This means all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed-upon line as the first steps toward a strong, durable, and everlasting peace." It was just 24 hours after Special Envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Soon after, pictures emerged of Israeli General Nitzan Alon shaking hands with Qatar's Prime Minister Al-Thani. According to the agreement, 20 Gaza-held living hostages will be released 72 hours after the deal is signed. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced he will be meeting with the Israeli governing body, the Knesset, on Thursday to finalize the Israeli portion of the deal. Trump, speaking on the Fox News' Sean Hannity show, said that a number of events came together to make the peace deal happen.
It's amazing the way it's all come together, and it's a beautiful picture. I don't know if it could ever happen again. It was just a set of circumstances, like, for instance, taking out the potential nuclear power of Iran. So many different things happened that were so amazing. It's a lot of talent involved, I'll tell you, but there was a certain degree of luck, too. You know, you need luck also.
The Gaza war in the past 2 years also reshaped the political landscape in the Middle East, which included Israel's pager attack that decimated Hezbollah in Lebanon, regime change in Syria, and the Israel and U.S. attack on Iran's nuclear capabilities. When the deal is finalized, it will be an enormous relief for the people of Gaza and for Israel, the end of a 2-year-long nightmare. I'm Jeff McKay in Washington.
After 9 months of investigating, federal authorities have arrested a Florida man for the January fire that devastated several high-profile areas of Los Angeles, destroying thousands of homes and buildings. Correspondent Rich Johnson has more on the story.
He was on the radar for months, and now 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderneck is behind bars. Acting U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley told reporters in Los Angeles the Palisades fire resulted from a blaze that Rinderneck set a week before, when he was working as an Uber driver on New Year's Eve.
He dropped someone off. He was in this neighborhood, and he was, this is New Year's Eve, so it was around midnight, and he went up to this hilltop. And at some point up there, around 12 a.m., he ignited a fire.
That blaze burned a few acres before it was put out, but not completely, according to the special agent in charge of the ATF office in Los Angeles, Kenny Cooper.
The fire was a holdover fire, meaning it was deeply seated in dense vegetation and roots and continued to burn undetected until catastrophic weather ensued, resulting in the Palisades fire.
Rinderneck made his first court appearance in Orlando yesterday. He moved to Florida shortly after the fire, which destroyed 7,000 homes and other structures and killed 12 people. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass remembered the pain.
To me, when things like this happen, announcements are made, you go back to that day.
When it comes to a motive, authorities would only provide a bit of context. That other Uber riders say Rinderneck appeared angry and agitated that night. He had personal conflicts at his California apartment complex and had used ChatGPT to create images of a dystopian city on fire. Whatever all that means, Cooper would only say,
Evil people do evil things.
I'm Rich Johnson.
Mail-in voting. The Supreme Court expected to make a decision on the matter when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. Portions of the Southeast are expected to face a wet and stormy Thursday. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
A cold front generally draped near or just to the north of the central Gulf Coast slowly sags southward today to serve as the focusing mechanism to organize showers and thunderstorms. However, the best available moisture will be toward the eastern half of the Gulf Coast and into South Carolina, so the zone south of a rough line from the Florida Panhandle to far southern South Carolina holds the chance for some downpours today. It does appear that the highest concentration of wet weather will end up from the Georgia coast through the Florida Peninsula, especially its southern extent, but it's looking like an especially good day to stay alert to changing weather conditions. A second increasingly wet part of the country will be the southwest today, with Tropical Storm Priscilla off the Mexican coast, providing enough moisture to enhance and increase the coverage of thunderstorms later today, mainly toward the Four Corners region. This pattern remains in place for days to come as Priscilla loses wind intensity while approaching the Baja California of Mexico, so the result should be at least an inch of generally welcome rain from southern and eastern Utah into western Colorado and New Mexico, as well as all but far southern Arizona, and some pockets of up to 2 to 4 inches of rain that may lead to some flash flooding. Additional storms bring the risk for some showers and thunderstorms to the southern tip of Texas, as well as a few showers from western Washington into parts of northwestern California today. There may even be an afternoon shower in eastern Minnesota due to a rather weak cold front, but there is a large portion of the nation from the northern Rockies through the Ohio Valley and into New England that has sunshine in its future today. In Detroit, today brings sunshine and a high of 60. For Portland, Oregon, watch for clouds around the area today, even a stray afternoon shower developing for some with a high of 65. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. In a decision that could reshape elections, the U.S. Supreme Court is considering a case surrounding mail-in voting. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
The case surrounds whether Republican Congressman Mike Bost of Illinois has legal standing to sue the state over counting federal election ballots beyond Election Day. Bost filed a lawsuit against Illinois back in 2022 for counting mail-in ballots postmarked on Election Day up to 2 weeks after the election. Lower courts found that the congressman doesn't have standing to sue, but his lawyers argued in front of the Supreme Court this week that he does because his name is on the ballot. They claim that the so-called unlawful ballots in question could in theory have cost the congressman the election or at least reduced his margin of victory. His legal team added that Bost is also responsible for paying his campaign staff for 2 extra weeks. All of that, according to his lawyers, means that the congressman has standing 3 times over. The state argued, though, that allowing the lawsuit would create chaos for election officials, claiming that any self-declared candidate could challenge any election rule that they have a policy disagreement with. I'm Clayton Neville.
Chaos in Boston over a dozen arrests after a pro-Palestinian protest turned violent. Joan Jones reports the incident led to police officers being attacked.
The protesters gathered at the public park called Boston Common Tuesday night, which started peacefully, but everything changed after the demonstrators sat in the middle of the road and blocked a contingent of emergency vehicles. Prosecutor Olivia Izzy said the police tried to move the crowd to the sidewalk so the emergency vehicles could get through, but those protesters refused to move and they fought back. Several demonstrators allegedly surrounded police vehicles, kicked the doors in. Other officers reported having their radios and body cameras ripped from them and stolen.
As the officers attempted to place the suspects into custody, they were immediately met with more violence and resistance from other protesters who appeared to be trying to free their fellow protesters from police custody.
Prosecutor Izzy said 4 officers were taken to the hospital. One of them had a broken nose and will require reconstructive surgery. A 21-year-old Tufts University student was arrested for that officer's injuries. He's being held on $10,000 bond. The others were jailed too, and all are awaiting their turn before a judge. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu speaking to Boston TV station WCVB5 about the balancing act here.
Very important to all of us in the city to help protect and safeguard that right. At the same time, we do not tolerate violence in Boston.
I'm Joan Jones.
Air traffic controllers calling out sick amid the government shutdown. We'll have that story and more when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Voices grow louder on Wall Street over a potential market correction. With that and more, here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a mixed day for stocks yesterday, but record-setting, with the S&P 500 index and the NASDAQ each hitting new record highs, with that NASDAQ opening above 23,000 this morning for the first time ever. Here is CNBC's Brian Sullivan with a summary of all the big Wall Street names who have warnings for you investors.
As the major averages keep racing to new record highs, some major market players are beginning to sound the alarm. Hedge fund guru Ray Dalio believes the stock market, quote, feels frothy. He advised investors to hold more gold than usual, as that metal, by the way, also soars. Paul Tudor Jones saying that today's market is reminiscent of the setup leading up to the burst of the dot-com bubble in late '99. Citadel founder Ken Griffin thinks the American economy is on a sugar high, and he's also seeing echoes of the dot-com bubble. But it's not just hedge fund billionaires making noise. The normally pretty quiet Bank of England is warning of a sharp market correction. Tech valuations appear stretched.
CNBC's Brian Sullivan. Gold with yet a new all-time high yesterday. Large retailers like Pandora and Signet, which owns Zales, Kay Jewelers, Jared, and Blue Nile, they've signaled they're exploring price hikes. President Trump has furloughed nearly half the workforce at the IRS now in the government shutdown, day 9 today. Flight delays have been piling up this week around the country as air traffic controllers continue to call in sick. They are government workers expected to work without pay during the shutdown.
This is not some mystery here. You start to impact the flights of people, they start reaching out to their members of Congress, and they say, get it fixed now. I'm curious how long this goes. How much worse will it have to be before you really start to see a public clamoring for Washington to come up with some kind of an agreement to get the government functioning again? Because this air traffic controller staffing situation, it was already fragile. And it's being made worse by the fact that you do see this uptick in sick calls.
CNBC's Phil LeBeau. Consumers frowning over inflation and the job market. The latest New York Fed survey finds that fewer households expect to be better off a year from now. Grocery prices rose in August at their fastest pace in 2 years in the Consumer Price Index. Disney just raised Disney World and Disneyland ticket prices. USA Today says the increases are effective immediately. You can check the theme park calendars for the cheapest days to visit. On today's watch list, we got some big earnings reports today. Earnings are coming from Delta Airlines, PepsiCo, and Levi Strauss.
Thank you, CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. When we return on America in the Morning, pre-prepped meal service listeria warning after these messages. The results are in for a special election in Tennessee to fill a seat in Congress that was held by a Republican. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
In Nashville, Tennessee, Republican Matt Van Epps, who was endorsed by President Trump, and Democrat Afton Bain won their very crowded primary races Tuesday and will face off in a special election to replace GOP Congressman Mark Green, who left office this summer. Van Epps, a former commissioner in Governor Bill Lee's administration, pledged to work with Trump on issues ranging from illegal immigration enforcement to providing care for veterans. Bain, a Democratic state rep, said at her victory party, Democrats in the Deep South aren't done yet. The December 2nd general election could gauge the popularity of Trump's aggressive second-term agenda. The seat is one of 3 districts GOP lawmakers drew as safely red in 2022 by dividing left-leaning Nashville. I'm Julie Walker.
A popular subscription-based meal service is alerting consumers about the potential for illness from one of their products. Correspondent Ed Donahue reports on a listeria health warning.
The Agriculture Department issued a public health alert for meals that may contain listeria-tainted spinach. The warning is don't eat certain HelloFresh subscription meal kits with spinach. They're shipped directly to consumers. The meals were produced by Fresh Realm, a company linked to an expanding listeria outbreak tied to heat and eat pasta meals. Fresh Realm officials say genetic testing found the outbreak strain of listeria in samples of pasta made and supplied by Nate's Fine Foods. Because of that connection, several additional companies, including Kroger, Giant Eagle, and Albertsons, recalled pasta salads and other dishes made with products from the company. Symptoms of listeria infection include fever, muscle aches, headache, stiff neck, confusion, loss of balance, and convulsions. Ed Donahue, Washington.
America in the Morning for Thursday, October 9th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
The federal government shutdown is grinding into a second week with no obvious endgame in sight. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The back and forth continues between the Trump administration and leaders in Illinois. I'm Clayton Neville.
We'll have the latest on the events in the Middle East, a Senate vote on war powers, a former FBI director's day in court, and the last of the New Orleans escaped inmates apprehended.
Country superstar Luke Bryan riles the right with a clip from his newest song. I'm Kevin Carr.
Dolly Parton setting the record straight following public speculation about her health. I'm Julie Walker.
Back after these messages. Welcome back here with America in the Morning. The 16th named Pacific hurricane makes weather headlines this morning. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
As a surge of moisture associated with Tropical Storm Priscilla, which is now losing wind intensity to the west of Mexico's Baja California, rushes into the southwestern states, the result will be more widespread coverage of showers and thunderstorms from Southern California toward the Four Corners in particular over the coming days, especially favoring the western side of the region, starting by this afternoon, as Priscilla transitions to a tropical rainstorm before eventually reaching northwestern Mexico early on Saturday. The continued push of moisture means a few days with the risk for locally heavy precipitation, bringing the risk for flash flooding. Through Saturday night, look for total rainfall of at least 2 to 4 inches from central Arizona northward into southern Utah and the far southwestern corner of Colorado, with 1 to 2 inches of rain more likely for much of Arizona, as well as parts of western New Mexico, northwestern Colorado, and much of eastern Utah. Another active zone for today looks to be the southeast, mainly near and along the coast from southern South Carolina and Georgia through Florida especially, where a cold front provides the spark for thunderstorms just about anywhere in the state, most numerous by this afternoon. Another piece of energy farther inland may touch off what could be more spotty thunderstorm activity over parts of Alabama this afternoon. A disturbance over the southwestern Gulf may bring a thunderstorm to far southern Texas as well. High pressure dominates the pattern today from the Rockies through the plains and into the northeast, where the air mass behind a potent cold front that brought some needed rain delivers an extended fall feel for many, with temperatures tonight falling far enough after the recent warm conditions for some areas of frost from the Appalachians of West Virginia through all but near coastal parts of New York and New England. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. President Trump said that the whole world came together. Hamas and Israel agreed to the first phase of a peace deal, where hostages being held by the terror group could be released by Monday in exchange for a number of Palestinians held in Israeli prisons. While full specifics of the deal have not been released, it's believed Israel's military will pull back to certain parts of Gaza, and President Trump is expected to travel to the Middle East. Israel's government will meet today to review and ratify the deal. Israeli officials and the mediators, which includes the United States, Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt, hope to have the first phase of the peace deal reached by Friday. Back here at home, still no movement in Washington as the government shutdown drags on. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports as both sides continue to blame the other for the shutdown. Some Democrats are pushing for a House vote on paying military members. Airport delays are growing by the day, and furloughs are underway for a number of government workers.
The federal government shutdown is grinding into a second week with no obvious endgame in sight.
They are sitting in their basements. With all due respect, you voted multiple times to keep the government shut down, okay? The Republican members from Arizona voted to keep the government open. So don't sit here and try to lecture us about whether or not we did our job. We did our job. You did not.
There are quiet bipartisan talks aimed at finding a way out, but publicly, both sides are holding their ground. From Speaker Mike Johnson.
The House is done. The ball is now in the Senate's court.
While top Senate Republican John Thune continues blaming Democrats.
They've already voted 5 different times now to keep the government shut down.
What is John Thune doing?
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says Republicans keep bringing up the same bill, expecting a different result.
That's legislative insanity.
After 5 failed votes, Republicans should understand they cannot go forward unless we come to a bipartisan agreement.
Chief Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer blames House Speaker Mike Johnson, who in turn says this is entirely on Schumer's gang to end.
We are pleading with the Democrats in the Senate to do the right thing.
Meantime, the Trump administration warns all federal workers are not guaranteed back pay after the shutdown ends, reversing long-standing policy.
For the most part, we're going to take care of our people.
But the president says others don't deserve that. Thune says he's not sure what the president meant.
My assumption is that furloughed workers will get back pay.
We are in a dangerous spot in this country when the president thinks that he can just, ignore laws that are written in plain English. That law that you must give back pay to federal employees, okay? That is written in plain English, and he's just telling the American people that he's going to ignore it.
As Randy Irwin and other top federal worker union leaders gathered near the Capitol.
Congress, do your damn job!
The Senate again took up dueling bills to end the shutdown. Both again failed. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Boots on the ground. Members of the Texas National Guard are standing by outside Chicago as President Trump continues his crackdown on crime and those illegally in the Windy City. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
President Trump has suggested the idea of deploying National Guard troops to Democrat-led cities like Portland and Chicago for weeks now. It's part of his effort to crack down on crime, which we saw earlier this year in D.C. The state of Illinois, though, sued over the deployment, saying there's no need for the federal government to intervene. In fact, local leaders point to recently declining crime numbers in Chicago.
The right wing in this country wants a rematch of the Civil War.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
I want that to sit in right now because the President of the United States of America has declared war on the people of Chicago and people across America. That's right. He's more interested in giving billions of dollars to other nations while farmers in urban cities around this country are literally being destabilized.
In a Truth Social post on Wednesday, President Trump said that Johnson and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker should be jailed as they refuse the federal help. Governor Pritzker responded to that when speaking to reporters.
These are people who stand against him, disagree with him, speak out about it, but literally have done nothing wrong. We are doing the people's business by standing up for them.
The post from the White House said, quote, an incompetent mayor, a delusional governor. Chicago's in chaos and the American people are paying the price. Chicago doesn't need political spin, it said. It needs help.
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. We have a governor that refuses to admit he has problems. Everybody knows how bad it is.
This is the Texas National Guard is deployed outside Chicago while the legal battle plays out. Meanwhile, in Portland, protests outside an ICE facility led to several arrests this week. A perimeter blocking the area was taken down despite a request by the federal government to keep it up. The Trump administration also calling on the city to designate free speech zones where protesters would be confined to during demonstrations. I'm Clayton Neville.
James Comey's not guilty plea, Xbox prices. Those stories and more when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Senate Republicans on Wednesday blocked an effort aimed at preventing continued U.S. strikes on alleged drug-carrying boats off the coast of Venezuela. Democrats led by California's Adam Schiff and Virginia's Tim Kaine forced a vote on the issue under the War Powers Act. But in a 48-51 vote, the effort failed to garner enough support to move forward. If passed, it would have blocked the U.S. military from engaging in hostilities with any non-state organization engaged in the promotion, trafficking, and distribution of illegal drugs and other related activities without congressional authorization. The Trump administration says it's conducted 4 strikes on alleged drug trafficking boats near Venezuela in the past 5 weeks. America in the Morning continues. Former FBI Director James Comey appeared before a judge in Alexandria, Virginia, and entered a not guilty plea to federal charges of making false statements and obstruction. Correspondent Jennifer King reports.
James Comey has his first court appearance for his arraignment at federal court in Alexandria, Virginia. The Justice Department alleges that in September of 2020, Comey obstructed a congressional proceeding and made a false statement by denying to the Senate Judiciary Committee that he'd authorized an associate to serve as an anonymous source to the news media. President Trump replaced the attorney overseeing the investigation with White House aide Lindsey Halligan, who rushed to file charges to beat a legal deadline despite warnings that there was insufficient evidence. President Trump spoke to reporters about the case on Monday.
I think he's a crooked guy. He's a dirty cop. Comey, I think he's a dirty cop. He's recognized by many people to be a dirty cop and dishonest guy. But Comey's a crooked guy. He has been for years. And he got caught. Look, he lied. This is just a simple case. He totally lied. And then he confirmed the lie on, I guess, numerous occasions, or at least one occasion. He confirmed the lie.
The prosecution of James Comey has amplified concerns that the Justice Department is being weaponized in pursuit of the president's political enemies.
Every totalitarian relies on the justice system to punish dissent.
On the Senate floor Tuesday, Democrat Chris Murphy suggested it was part of a trend.
Not a single prosecutor in that office in Virginia would sign the indictment, not a single one, until President Trump sent his personal lawyer.
Jennifer King, Washington.
It took months and the trail went through several states, but the last of the 10 New Orleans jail escapees has finally been captured. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
The only escaped Louisiana inmate who remained on the run following an audacious May 16th jailbreak by 10 inmates has been found in Atlanta, Georgia. After a brief standoff at a house, 28-year-old Derek Groves was taken into custody after evading authorities for nearly 5 months. Groves had the most violent criminal record of the escapees, with a murder conviction and facing a possible life sentence. The other 9 escapees were recaptured within 6 weeks of breaking out. The men squeezed through a hole behind a toilet and scaled a barbed wire fence. Above the hole, they scrawled a message on the cell wall that read, "Too easy, laugh out loud." I'm Lisa Dwyer.
While peace could be fast approaching in the Middle East, the same cannot be said in another part of the world. Following a series of missile and drone attacks against Ukraine, the Ukrainians have launched a devastating drone strike against key energy infrastructure in Russia. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
The Ukraine attacks include an ammunition plant, an oil terminal in Crimea and a weapons depot. The strikes are part of Kyiv's strategy to pressure Russia's military logistics. Military officials say weapons struck the Sverdlov ammunition plant in the Nizhny Novgorod region of western Russia overnight, causing multiple explosions and a fire, adding the plant supplies Russian forces with aviation fuel and artillery ordnance. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the country is using domestically produced weapons only. The main thing to understand, he says, is that in recent days Ukraine has used exclusively Ukrainian-made weapons, not only drones. From the hits, people can tell from social media footage where drones were used and where something else was. Zelensky adds he hopes to soon negotiate a second phase of European contributions regarding supplies of air defense missiles. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Microsoft's Xbox game prices are going up, but not for everyone. U.S. and U.K. price hikes take effect this year, but somehow most of Europe gets a break. Chuck Palm has that in today's Tech Report.
Recently, Microsoft has rolled out a premium price increase for their Xbox game plan. After major pushback and a nod to local rules, they've hit the brakes on the hike for now for auto-renew subscribers in Germany, Ireland, South Korea, Poland, and India. But no such luck for US or UK subscribers, whose updated pricing will go into full effect by December. Microsoft rep Carrie Perez has called out in emails and statements, stressing that they're playing by the regional rulebook while keeping service upgrades rolling on. The new Game Pass will be introducing tiers like Essentials at $9.99 a month, Premium at $14.99 and up, and bumping their Ultimate tier up 50% from $19.99 to $29.99 in the US or $17.99 to $26.99 in the UK. This has highlighted another double standard with the big tech industries and their pricing, where hardcore American gamers bear the brunt of the increases as they get it stuck to them again. Find me at chuckpalm.com.
Robert Workman has a check of Thursday sports.
4 possible elimination games in baseball's division series on Wednesday, but only one team advanced. The Blue Jays are on their way to the American League Championship Series. For the first time since 2016, they beat the Yankees 5-2 to win that series 3-1. Nathan Lucas drove in a pair, and manager John Schneider used 8 different bullpen arms to hold New York at arm's length.
I've said it to you guys once, I've said it a million times. They're really good at turning the page to the next thing that's important. Just happy for everyone that was involved and kind of fitting that it took everyone to win today.
The AL Championship Series will open in Toronto on Sunday. The other ALDS is going the distance. The Tigers erased a 3-0 deficit and sank the Mariners 9-3 to force a decisive Game 5 Friday in Seattle. Javier Baez homered and drove in 4. National League, the Cubs stayed alive with a 4-3 win over the Brewers. Getting all of their runs in the first inning, Michael Busch hit his second leadoff homer of the series. Game 4 at Wrigley Field tonight, Brewers still up 2-1. And the Phillies staved off elimination, beating the Dodgers 8-2. Kyle Schwarber's home run sparked a 3-run fourth inning. Manager Rob Thompson.
I think the Schwarber home run just sort of woke everybody up and got a lot of energy going in the dugout.
Schwarber and JT Realmuto each went deep in a 5-run eighth. Game 4 in the sunshine today at Dodger Stadium. The road team has won every game in that series so far. Hockey wins for the Maple Leafs, Bruins, Flames, and Kings. NFL Week 6 begins tonight with the Eagles at the Giants. That's Thursday Sports.
When we return on America in the Morning, country singer's anti-ICE song meets with fan disapproval when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. A popular country music star has penned an anti-ICE song that's making the rounds and not sitting well with many of his fans. Details from entertainment reporter Kevin Carr.
Country singer Luke Bryan is coming under fire from conservatives and the Trump administration for his latest song. On Friday, Bryan released a sample of his latest song, Bad News, about daily struggles in America. The song also takes a jab at U.S. immigration and customs enforcement.
And ICE is gonna come bust down your door, try to build a house, no one builds no more, but I got a telephone. Kids are all scared and all alone.
Conservative pundits have criticized Bryan for the song, catching the notice of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, who spoke out about it on Benny Johnson's podcast.
I hope he understands how completely disrespectful that song is, not just to law enforcement, but to this country.
This week, Bryan, a U.S. Navy veteran, posted that he loves America and the meaning of the song is about trying to emerge from the divided space in America today. Country music garners a huge conservative fan base, and some have not been happy, even though no one complained when he released an acoustic version of the song in July to his 7 million Instagram followers.
Rock, stop rolling, my middle finger's rising, and it won't stop showing. Got some bad news. Fading on the red, white.
Earlier this week, Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security Tricia McLaughlin posted on X, quote, "Stick to pink skies, dude," in reference to Bryan's acclaimed song Pink Skies, which is about grief and loss. I'm Kevin Carr.
A country music legend has released a statement saying, despite rumors, she's not on death's door. Correspondent Julie Walker reports Dolly Parton has responded to concerns about her health.
But before I got started, I wanted to say, I know lately everybody thinks that I am sicker than I am. Do I look sick to you? I'm working hard here.
Country superstar Dolly Parton setting the record straight following public speculation about her health.
I'm not ready to die yet. I don't think God is through with me, and I ain't done working.
The 79-year-old Wednesday posting on her social media.
That AI picture of Reba and me, ooh, Lordy. I mean, they had Reba at my deathbed, and we both look like we need to be buried, but I thought, oh my Lord, but if I was really dying, I don't think Reba would be the one at my deathbed.
Parton filmed the clip while doing publicity for the Grand Ole Opry.
There's just a lot of rumors flying around, but I figured if you heard it from me, you'd know that I was okay.
Last month, the singer postponed her first Las Vegas residency in 32 years, citing health challenges and moving it to next year. I'm Julie Walker.
America in the Morning for Thursday, October 9th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.